Шановні колеги.
Ну, и что? Почему не работает? We are going to start the last briefing today, which is called the non-transparent state, tariff policy analysis and proposals. Oleg Honcharenko has the floor. Good afternoon, esteemed colleagues. Thank you very much for your presence here. We are going to briefly talk about tariffs. Why, for a second, so the government had a second thought to talk about that today. We have the following concern about the following things. Number one, that our citizens receive the first, let's say, checks to pay for the tariffs. In the second one, we have the rhetorics in the parliament, in Verkhovna Rada. Tariffs, what we are going to do with those? First of all, the tariffs must be formed not by the government, not by the parliament, but by the market. And we are all for the market economy. If we say that gas tariffs must be reduced or decreased in some way, this will bring us back, as it was the case under Yanukovych, when billions of dollars and dozens of billions of hryvnia were put in the pockets of the oligarchs. We can see the gas tariffs, which are subdivided into three levels. First level, 3,000 per 1,000 cubic meters, 3,600 and 72 hundreds. Just give an example of old granny in countryside. This actually tariff is lower than what people are getting now. The cost of this gas is 900 hryvnia. Actually, we have the price 9,000 hryvnia. So the small question around simple question around: if this granny has to pay 3,000 hryvnia and we buy it for 9,000 hryvnia, what's the difference where it goes? And just you can multiply it by many multi-department building, and you'll come up with several billion hryvnia. Nobody knows where this money goes to. Number two, the price for the gas, which has to be established by the parliament. And we know that the parliament had to consider some of the laws and adopt some laws to decrease the price for the cost of the gas. We know about the rentals for the gas production. But let's consider rhetorics. They say that the national gas produced here in Ukraine must be much cheaper than what we import. You know what? This system we had already, and I already mentioned what was the result of this scheme. This scheme results in the situation when all those privileged prices will be very well used by our oligarchs. I already gave an example of difference of 6,000 hryvnia, which will go to the pocket of those people. We have the proposal. If the parliament wants to have transparency of the cost, they have to fix it by law. I mean, a special auditor's team which has to analyze the corruption component and lack of transparency for information of the gas prices. After that, we can move towards the problem number two. Decrease of monopolism in this market. In our regional gas offices are subdivided, let's say, distributed between several oligarchs. We have to have the law which would fix that not a single person must have more than 10% of the gas amount. This will lead to demonopolization of the market and market price. What it means for the people in the street. Maybe this price will be not 300 but less, because the market price in Europe today is about $250 per 1,000 cubic meters multiplied by today's rate, more than let's say 5,000 hryvnia plus VAT. Then it will be 6,000 hryvnia, but not 7,000 plus. When we combat monopoly in those areas, we'll come up with a reduction of the prices, or decrease of the price. The money which makes Naftogaz must be directed to the budget, the channel to the budget that we mentioned several months ago, that from this pool of money, which is in the form of the profit, the non-protected stratified population must be protected. The same granny or grandmother will get the help from this state. But our government said that we have some subsidies which were very easy to achieve. We know that the same grandmother who is more than 70 years of age, she has to come to get the subsidy to the district capital. How can this aged person do that? But what we are talking about 50 hryvnia subsidy, and this subsidy is calculated per certain amount of square meters of your flat or apartment or house. But let's put it this way: we can decrease automatically the pension of the working pensioners. Why our government can automatically distribute the Naftogaz profits and use it to protect those unprotected strata of population? And the 50 hryvnia is not the sum of money which actually can cover the increase of tariffs. This is our short message which we would like to convey specifically today, because for first time already people received the checks which they won't be able to pay to cover, and those market tariffs non-transparent and monopolistic, they will lead to the stagnation of the economy, because non-payments, which will be absolutely spread all over Ukraine, will lead to absolute different situation. We need some other mechanism which will enable us to develop the economy. We need our citizens to get the decent salaries which will allow them to pay for such tariffs. Thank you. Are there any questions?
To cooperate with other NGOs that work on this issue. And secondly, have you sent your proposals to the government or to the anti-monopoly committee? If you know, I will start with the last one. Anti-monopoly committee. Just recently, several weeks ago, they appointed the chair of anti-monopoly committee, and for a year there was no one on that position. We sent our proposals to the President's administration, to the Parliament. We cooperate with some leaders and who understand the importance of this problem. We would like to draw attention to the fact that many people in Ukraine say correct things. And what has happened, for example, in Naftogaz, they do a good reform. We supported, and the price for gas should not be of 3 levels. It should be on the same level on market value. It will be 7,200, but that's the market to decide. But the market is the most efficient system, and the government should encourage such things that where we have competition and energy efficiency, which will allow us to reduce volumes of gas that our people use. Clear. Thank you very much. If there are no more questions or commitments, thank you very much. We wish you success with tariffs, and we hope you succeed in cooperation. And we also hope Naftogaz does correct things. I want to underline success with Naftogaz. From the point of view of reforms, I don't know what happens with the point of view of structure of expenditures, but from the point of view of reforms, that's a correct thing.